Your pain is my pain. If I have to respond to this, you have to listen to it. If I get asked this fucking question, remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. Someone asked me if I saw this video of some guy, I guess Zane FGC or whatever the fuck his name is. I guess he's some guy that's apparently good at Dragon Ball, right? And he tried to respond to my comments about Dragon Ball, and I don't know, I guess he said I was wrong or something like that. But I guess he also skipped the video because he didn't want to listen to me, which is just, my brain. Imagine being like, yo, this is why I say, dude, I don't give a fuck if somebody is good at the game. Being good at the game doesn't mean you can have an intelligent conversation, right? Again, very rare to meet someone who can talk about games. Very rare to meet somebody who's good at the game. Very rare to meet someone who can do both. Even more rare, right? So the guy basically was like, oh, well, if the stuff that Clayton is talking about happened, Trunks' moves wouldn't be better or some shit like that, which is just insane to me. But I guess he skipped the video as well. Like, why would you fucking skip the video or just skip along? So let me get to say, the guy who has discovered more tech in any fighting game than any other person in the history of fighting games, the guy that has done more for the community than all these other fucking fake people, dude. The guy who consistently, people try to say that I'm going to be wrong about something and then they find stuff. I mean, fucking Christ, look at Vegito. They fucking literally patched out all the fucking shit I was doing with him. I mean, so anyway, let's do this. Okay, this is, God, it's painful to have to do this. But it just goes, I guess it just goes to show you how fucking retarded people are about games. Okay. So the video that got sent to this guy is I'm talking about why moves should do block damage and all this kind of stuff in the tug of war. Because here's the Dragon Ball Z. Let's look at this again. How many fucking times have I said this about this game? When you sell the product to the consumer, you sell the product because people were already going to buy Dragon Ball anyway, right? People bought Ultimate Battle 22 fuck my shit. One of the worst, not a bad fighting game, just a bad video game period because it's Dragon Ball characters, right? People are going to buy Dragon Ball games no matter what. It doesn't matter how bad they are. Even Ultimate Battle, fuck my titties, right? So you sell the product to the consumer. You got to be like, what can I get in this product that I cannot get in any other fighting game? And what did I say Dragon Ball FighterZ has, right? It has this tug of war between fireballs, you know what I mean, versus homing dash and reflecting, right? That is a mindset, a meta, if you will, that cannot exist in any other video game. Ryu doesn't fly, Ryu doesn't reflect fireballs, all this kind of stuff, right? And so that is a focus that if you're selling the product to the actual connoisseur of fighting games who want, to be mentally stimulated, like, oh, I want to play this game because I like this aspect that I can't enjoy in another game, right? You would focus on this. Now, unfortunately, Dragon Ball FighterZ, one of the things they did, especially, and they added some block damage as the patch has gone on, but remember, block damage isn't really a real thing in Dragon Ball. But if block damage was a more real thing in Dragon Ball, guess what? You would see more of this tug of war. Because guess what? You don't want to stay blocking in a game where there's fireballs all over the screen, right? So you're going to want to use homing dash more. You're going to want to use reflecting more. And guess what? If you have to use the unique properties of the game that you cannot get in another game, there's always going to be a potential reason to play your game because you cannot get this aspect in another game. Simple. So I use the example. Guess what? If fireballs and all this kind of shit did block damage, guess what? It would make things like Trunks with his Change the Future automatically better. Now this idiot, who I guess skipped the video because he didn't want to fucking watch it, you know what I mean, said no, that wouldn't be the case. Now I want you to think about this. So time out. We have these characters here, but maybe this is our team. Vegito's Banshee Blast, right? Man, that's a lot of fireballs on the screen, and it does do more block damage as they change the patches, but you know what I mean? Krillin's Fireball, though, there's another move, a very versatile fireball. Imagine if that was doing real block damage, right? Just Goku, any character throwing fireballs all over the place, right? You don't want to just stay blocking, right? But guess what? We already have certain characters in the game that have anti-fireball moves. Trunks has changed the future, is it not? I'm pretty sure it's like frame 1, invincible to fireballs, right? Isn't it? Goes through fireballs. So guess what? And like I said, and his actual change the future doesn't actually count as like a fireball, I don't think, right? So like think about this. This is why it's so retarded that people can't have even simple conversations about games. You're telling me you don't understand why this would make this move better? This isn't that this guy's a bad player because apparently he's good, but he's obviously fucking retarded if he can't see why this would make this move better. So let me get this straight. You are now playing a game where you don't want to block. You know what I mean? Isn't that one of the problems people said about Dragon Ball originally? Even they're like, oh man, you can just turtle too much. You know what I mean? Because there's not real block damage. They're talking like, oh, Goichi just blocks everything, all this kind of stuff. Because guess what? Why wouldn't he? But if you're playing this game that's actually trying to show off the game with regular fireballs and do everything like that, guess what? Well, fuck, I'm going to have to get ready to reflect out of stuff. I'm going to have to try to homing dash more. You know what I mean? Or if I have a character that has an anti-fireball move, frame 1, guess what? Trunks doesn't give a fuck about getting zoned by this stuff. Trunks isn't as afraid as other characters just to block this because he can just change the future. If this sort of zoning idea is now more important, you know what I mean? Now we have more traditional kind of zoning things that do block damage. Guess what? A character like Trunks with Change the Future automatically becomes more important. A more important piece. We got three team members, right? He becomes an important member of your team. Maybe he's your anti-fireball character. And guess what? Change the Future doesn't count as a fireball. So guess what? You can't homing dash through it. You can't just in a block string reflect out of it. You have to hold Trunks' block damage, but Trunks doesn't have to hold your block damage. That makes this move automatically better. Are you telling me this guy that's good at the game doesn't understand why that would make that move more important in the meta of the game? Obviously, he's fucking retarded if you can't follow this conversation. I mean, this is like baby shit, dude. And that's why I said, and I've made so many like game theory videos, you know what I mean? That's why I said if one aspect of the game gets better, these other aspects that were maybe not as powerful as they were before, more powerful. You're like, whoa, Trunks. You mean now Trunks has changed the future, does good block damage? That's a powerful, safe move. I can't just reflect and homing dash through it. And you're telling me Trunks goes through me if I try to fireball him? You're like, damn, that's a pretty fucking powerful move. Do you get what I'm getting at? Trunks becomes an important piece to the puzzle of your 3-member team. How do you not understand that, dude? You're fucking smart. Are you serious? You're not that smart if you can't see that, dude. And that's why I said Dragon Ball, you know, if you're gonna, and I've made so many videos that it's better if a game, that's why I said when Ultra Instinct Goku was considered a good character, right? Like, I don't think he's considered that important in the meta now. But I said if Dragon Ball FighterZ were to continue and you have a character like Ultra Instinct Goku be a powerful character in the meta, better to have a powerful character that shows off the meta of the game that you cannot get in another game, so to speak, right? Than a character that is boring, right? Why do you want a character that is boring that doesn't show off your game to be powerful in the game? That's why I said Vegito, again, serendipitously, that's why I said how many videos have I made of how I would change Vegito? You know what I mean? Vegito serendipitously, make his stuff a little bit faster here and there, so you have to use, make some of these Banshee Blast strings where a little bit faster, so guess what? You have to use the meta of the game to get out of it. You could say Vegito is a character that has quotation marks weak mix-up. He doesn't have fast high-low mix-up, but guess what? Vegito, guess what he excels at? He excels at, to beat Vegito, you have to be using the meta of the game correctly. You have to be using reflect a lot. You have to be using good homing dashes, all this kind of stuff. Because you can't just block versus a character like that. Maybe if you were to think about it as a traditional fighting game, you know what I mean? Where if you could just block, like Vegito has a slow overhead. He has a slow low. Maybe he's weak in that aspect, but in the aspect of Dragon Ball FighterZ, this new potential meta that you cannot get in another fucking fighting game, he's very powerful. That is healthy for the consumer. That's healthy for the consumer and the player of all levels because guess what? You're seeing a character that cannot exist in another game. the consumer could be like, man, you know what? I really love Street Fighter. I really love Tekken. I love Soul Calibur. I love King of Fighters. But you know what? I like Vegito in this game because he's just like a character. You can't have that kind of character in another game. That's good. Ultra Instinct Goku, as he can walk through a fucking fireball. You can't have an Ultra Instinct Goku in a King of Fighters, in a Street Fighter character walking through a fireball. That kind of meta is good for a game. If you can show off the consumer like that kind of character, man, he has something good. Trunks has changed the feature. Like, whoa, this move does block damage. He's safe and he goes through fireballs. He's an anti-zoning character. This move automatically becomes better. You're telling me that a smart person can't understand what I'm getting at there? You're not that fucking smart. Please stop listening to this guy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And of course, that's why I said they should have gone even further then. You should have some characters that have like a suck my titty thing, a vacuum cleaner character that instead of reflecting, they can just suck up the fireball. You know what I mean? So then they're weak in one way. They can actually suck up the fireball, but guess what? They can't actually push you back. So it's kind of like, you know, a different attribute or a different kind of perspective on what is possible in the game. But guess what? That's still another perspective that you can't get in another fucking fighting game. It's so simple, dude. You know? Again, it's just, that's crazy to me that my brain, dude, it gets boring talking about this shit. Like I said, you know, normally I say watch whoever you want to watch. You know what I mean? But sometimes I'm like, don't even fucking watch these idiots, dude. What fucking value? You know, that's what I've said so many times before. Your favorite content creator has no idea what the fuck they're talking about. So many of these fucking people, you know what I mean? Sometimes when I hear people, and I guess the guy didn't feel like watching it, he just fast forwarded it. Well, I'm not going to listen to the person that has accurately predicted game after game, year after year, more than anybody else, who I'm playing the game that I'm supposedly good at, I guess. You know what I mean? More props to you. You know what I mean? That almost all the tech in the game is from me originally. I'm just not going to listen to him, though, because I'm so insecure. You know, it's like, are these people only good at the game because all they do is they play video games all day? I mean, because their brain is obviously not working very well. Anyway, remember if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. Appreciate it. Thanks. The end.